Dear Father, I stand today, just want to say thank you, Lord, for everything that you've done for me. Somebody's gonna need you, Lord. Somebody's gonna need a friend. Well, I stopped by to let you know that I know somebody that'll stick closer than a mother, somebody that'll stick closer than even a father. Well, friend, I'm talking about Jesus Christ. Yeah. Thank you, Lord. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. 'Cause I know Jesus will never let you down. No. Whenever you need him, I know. Today, that Jesus will be there every day, 'cause I know Jesus, he'll never let you down. Whenever you need the Lord, I know
Davis. You guys, you know, we had our holiday last week, so I wasn't here last week, but I thank you guys so much for coming and joining us every week and, you know, to just, you know, chat with us, right? So we want to thank Roscoe Media Center. We want to thank Roscoe Chicken and Waffle. We want to thank Johnny Morris, Keno, Melissa. We want to thank LaRon because he one of the tech guys here at the station. He do a really good job. Kevin, my tech guy, he back there, he making it happen on the spot every time, you guys. And you know, like always, you guys, all of my guests are VIP guests. And so today I have a guest here today that he's like my son almost, you know, because him and my son are best friend, and it's like he's like a son to me, but he's so intelligent, he's so smart, you guys, and I had to have him on the show today because not only is he a published author right now, but he's actually an advocate for Black history, for teaching us about our Black history, and he knows some things, you guys. You know, he's a young guy, but he knows, right? And so, you know, I'm gonna let Ellis introduce himself. We're gonna have a good show today, you guys. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff, and you know, you guys, we wanna just, you know, take a minute, say a prayer for the two. We're gonna say this. We're gonna pray for all of the people who have deceased or got killed, got shot, died any kind of way, you know, because it wasn't just the two guys. It was some police officers that got shot. It was some two guys that got shot. One in, what was the cities again? The Minnesota, I think it was. Anyway, where the two cities where the people got shot, the city in Texas, I think, where the police officer got shot, we're going to say a prayer for all of the families right now. Because all of the families are going through stuff, you know. And it's not about who's who, because it's like we're not about this life matter and that life matter. We're about right and wrong, righteousness and wickedness, you know. And because we can't do that. If we say that we love God, it's not about this group or that group or whatever. And of course y'all can see what color I am, right? But it's like I'm about righteousness and unrighteousness, and that's it and that's all, you know what I'm saying? So it's really sad for the people who's losing their loved ones. It don't matter who they are, whether they're an officer, whether they're somebody in the streets, selling CDs or whatever. We're sad for all of the families, and so I pray right now. I give a shout out, and I want to pray for all of the families that the Holy Spirit would comfort you guys, and all of the kids that lost their dads. You know what I'm saying? Or any kids that may have lost any kind of parent, a dad or mom or whatever. We're going to pray for them right now, that God, that you would touch them and that you would let them have a good life anyway in spite of, and that it would not affect them in a bad way where they go off and they do something because of what happened. So we just pray that, Lord, that you would make every crooked place straight, and that no weapon formed against them shall prosper, even though the weapon have formed and some people have lost their loved ones, that they would still look to you, God, because you're the only way for me. And hopefully they will look to you also. So we're going to let Ellis introduce himself, you guys. And he's very interesting young man, very smart, very intelligent. And he's a book published author. So introduce yourself, Ellis, and your book.
Hey guys, my name is Ellis Magruder. Very first time doing a radio show, so this is pretty exciting for me.
Awesome.
As Ms. Gail said, I am now a published author.
Yes.
Quiet Expressions. You guys can see that. This book is like my pride and joy right now, because poetry is definitely my passion. Poetry is something that is definitely a gift from God, and I take it seriously. I protect it and I hold it like it's my own child.
Yes.
Just a little background on the book. The title, Quiet Expression, comes from my very own personality. I'm very quiet, very withdrawn, very to myself. So, and I've never really been good with like outwardly and verbally expressing myself. I like really suck at it. So poetry was like the perfect fitting. It was like the perfect niche for me as far as having a source of expression or an expressive outlet. I've been writing poetry since I was about like maybe 9 years old, 10 years old.
Really?
And I always had a fascination with words. In school, my favorite subject was always English. Like I swear, like every other subject, math and history, I didn't really care about those subjects too much. English was always that grade that subject that I always got an A in.
Really?
Yeah, because I loved, when you read the book report, or when the teachers teach you like certain stories and they actually give your feedback on. I love that. I was always like the favorite one, when it came to like the book reports and everything like that. So I just always had a fascination with words. So poetry again was like the perfect niche. So these poems in this book, I put 85 in here, but I got like 300, 400, 500, 600. I got a lot of poems, but the poems that I put in this book,
nice sized book too.
Yeah,
Ellis.
it is.
How many pages you have?
It's a total of 85 poems.
Really?
But the actual page count is, I think it's like 100 and something, because it's the introduction, and then when they publish it, they put like their spin on it and everything else. So it's actually a pretty decent sized book. So when you hold it, it's actually like you can tell this ain't something that you can read in like.
Right. Yeah.
This is something that you're gonna have to. Yeah.
You're gonna definitely have to take some time to read that.
Exactly. The poetry is one of those things you don't want to just skim through. You want to meditate on it. You want to let it soak in.
But that is so good, Ellis. I'm very proud of you.
Appreciate it.
Because you actually did that. You got that book out. You got that book ready.
Yes.
It's a nice looking book, though.
Yes.
So now the picture on the back. You got a picture on the back of the book, right?
Yeah, I do. It's a picture of myself.
That's a really nice picture, and
appreciate it.
The book is nice. Who did the design and the colors?
The design, I went through a company called Create Space. So what they have is that they already have like templates set up to where you can use. So the picture, the ocean in the background you see is a template that they already had. So me, I'm like really into nature. Like that's just like one of my mini obsessions. So when I saw the picture of the ocean in the back, this was like perfect. I was like, man, I need this picture.
Yeah, because actually,
you
have a picture that Ricky just took when you guys were at the beach or something.
Exactly.
And that almost looks like that.
Yeah. So throughout this whole book, that's one of the things you will see. That I'm like really deep into nature, especially like the oceans and the moons and stuff
You
like
got
that.
pictures in the book?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying like through the poems,
Your
when you read the
expressions.
poems, you
Okay.
can see it exactly. Trez, that's probably one of the very first things you'll notice that's in
That
that
is
book.
so cool. So hopefully maybe we can get one from you today before
Right.
we
Oh, yeah.
finish or
Of
whatever.
course. Of course.
Okay, so what inspired you anyway to just like you said? Okay, you said you didn't really express yourself. So quiet expressions was
Right.
your way of expressing yourself through
Right.
words.
The whole what inspired me the most, about this book was, even though I was really scared to express myself, I always had a deep yearning to, So, a lot of the times I spent a lot of my teenage years alone.
Wow.
When I was 14, it was like 14, 15 years old, I did decide to drop out of high school when I was in 10th grade. So,
Okay.
of course, I'm not around any of my peers. So, majority of the time I'm by myself. So, a lot of the times what I would do is I would ditch school. I would ditch school, and instead of just, going home and just, relaxing and, watching cartoons and SpongeBob all day, what I would do is I would catch the bus. I would walk from William J. P. Knight High School, which was on 70th Street East. I would walk all the way to 47th Street East on Avenue S and catch the number 9 bus, I think it was at that time.
Really?
I would catch the bus and I would go all the way to the west side of Palmdale. It'd drop me off there, and I would go to Barnes & Nobles and just read all day. That was it.
It's not, and I'm not laughing because you ditched school.
Right.
I'm laughing because you ditched school, walked all the way from 70th Street East, and people don't know that's a nice little walk.
It is a decent
70th
walk.
Street East to
It's a decent
47th
walk.
Street East in R.
Right.
Caught the bus to the west side of Palmdale to go to Barnes and Noble.
And I had to do all of this hiding. It was more to it than just walking. Like, I had to wait, till my mom left the block to go to work. I had to wait because I would have my friend's mom drop me off, and I would have to wait till she left. I would have to, like, strategically ditch school. And as ironic as that sounds, I would really, I don't promote anybody
Yeah,
leaving
we
school
don't
at all.
promote
Stay in
ditching
school.
school at
That's
all.
just my
Stay in
personal story and what I did. Because when I dropped out of high school, I actually, I wasn't stupid. I'm not ignorant. My
Right,
parents
right.
raised me well, so I always had a knack for learning. So when I would go to Barnes and Nobles, it was whatever seemed interesting to me. Mainly Black history was my thing.
Right.
One of the very first books that I read that really inspired me a lot was the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Wow.
It took me about like a solid month to read that book, but probably out of all the books that I read, that's probably like on the top of my list. That book. So, but I read books on Black history. I read books on the universe, like universal law. I read a lot of books on poetry. Maya Angelou. Oh my.
Yeah, I know Maya Angelou is
yes.
one of your favorite
Maya
poets.
Angelou
Yeah.
is literally my idol. She is really,
Yeah.
seriously, if it was not for her works and her artwork, I would not, like, I can't even express how
That's deep.
much of an impact she has.
'Cause I remember at her passing that
Yeah.
you were putting a lot of stuff on Facebook
Yeah,
about her, and you always have talked about Maya
Yes,
Angelou.
she is one of the people that taught me the power of words,
Wow.
how to utilize them, and they're more than just words. Like, they actually have a lot of power. Like,
They do.
words literally create.
They
Like
create.
your destiny. They really create your reality. So when I heard she has this testimony on how she was raped when she was young,
Okay.
and the man who raped her, she after the raping was done, she spoke a lot of negative things towards him. She was just like, I hope he gets hurt. I hope he, just all these negative things. And I believe it was like a day or two later, he had ended up dying. And she felt that it was her fault because she spoke these things and it manifested itself. So she, even though she didn't cause any hurt to him physically, she felt like her words created
did it.
that for him to get hurted. And when she did that, she just understood from that point on, like, wow, like what I say, what I
is so
say
deep.
has a
I
lot.
didn't know that.
Yes, Maya Angelou is.
I did not know that, Ellis.
When
and
she-
that's a trip. I really didn't know that.
When she passed, I felt like, even though I never met her on a personal level, I was just so into her work. I was so into her art that I felt like I knew her personally. So when she passed, it like really, it really touched me that day.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
he's serious, you guys, too, because
that's-
on Facebook he was sharing Maya Angelou poems a lot, and but that's good that she was able to be an inspiration to you.
Yes.
And see, that's why books are so important, because we never know who we inspiring, right?
Right.
Through a book, we never know who's reading our book and how we touching someone or changing their life in
Exactly.
any kind of way.
Exactly.
Even if we're like right now, the show that we're doing now, you never know whose life you're changing.
Right.
And who, like, even right now, like he said, we don't never promote ditching school, to go to do whatever. But if you're going to go to school, stay in school. But instead of going after school to the playground, go to the library or something,
Educate
and go
yourself.
read a book. And if you're not expressing yourself, express yourself with the pen, right?
Exactly.
Because that's a good way to express yourself. Because that's kind of what happened with my getting healed and therapeutic writing. That's how my book came about, is because I was therapeutic writing because I needed to express myself, and at the time I wasn't seeing a counselor or nothing, and I needed to just get it out.
Right.
I need to just get it out. So that's a good way of expressing yourself, you guys. Just put it on the pen and paper. And
You don't have to be no genius to express yourself.
Talk
You don't
about that.
You do not have to be no special kind of person to express yourself, even if it's not through poetry, even if it's not through writing. There's so many different expressive outlets
many
that you
ways.
can express yourself through.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a genius, but I do know not expressing yourself, that's what damages you.
You talk about that, Ellis.
That damages you so much.
Talk about that.
Poetry just so happened to be my niche and my passion, so it worked out well for me. But again, you do not have to be a genius to express yourself. Everybody
Right.
needs that expressive outlet, whether you're confiding yourself through other people, whether that is through a notebook, whether if you go home and scream, whatever
Talk
whatever
about
it
it.
is, whatever
Go home
it
and
is.
screen. If
but
you
express
paint,
yourself.
If you're an
Mhm.
artist, if you paint, you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? If you're a musician, you sing, you play music, you play an instrument. There, like you said, so many different ways of expressing yourself.
Right.
And I like what you just now said, Ellis, because you said if you don't express yourself, that's where it
You're
can be a
keeping it all
dangerous
bottled
thing.
in. Exactly.
And
You
that's
keep it
how
all
people
bottled in.
explode sometime, right?
Exactly. I learned that a lot. It's when I kind of look back on certain experiences in my life, I kind of see why God allowed certain things to happen to me in my life. When I was young, like my real early teenage years, I used to get just like any other black man I'm sure can express, but I used to get harassed by the police officers a lot.
Okay.
And I can tell you from personal experience, a lot of what you see with these young black men and how we interact with police officers, it's hard and it's a struggle to really cope with them or to listen to them, because what they do a lot of the times is that they try to dehumanize you. And what I mean by that is that I'm not going to sit up here and say that every single cop in this world, every single white police officer is racist, but I will say the majority are. I will say that the majority are. And the things that they say to you when they pull you over is just so idiotic and so stupid. It's almost like they feel or they think that you're stupid or you're idiotic.
So
a lot of the things, like, I'll just give you a quick example for me, just one of the things. I had a police officer pull me over. This is broad daylight. We're talking like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
He pulled me over. He came up to my window, and the question that he asked me was, "Why am I taking this street?"
Are you serious?
Because it's a street.
Because
it's a street. I mean, what I'm trying to say is a lot of the times is that when a police officer is acting
harassing
ignorant.
you.
When they're harassing you,
Yeah.
and you look at them and they'll sit there with this expression on their face, like as if they're actually doing something that is of justice, or they're doing something that actually had an actual good reason to pull you over. And because you sense their lie, and you sense the ignorance, and you sense the racism or the ill intent they have towards you, it pisses you off. And we as men, especially men, we have pride.
Okay.
And it's hard for us to it's hard for us to swallow it.
Okay.
So when they act ignorant towards us, I'm not saying act ignorant towards them, but what I am saying is that it is hard to swallow that pride and to listen to them, because you do have to listen to them. You know, when they do tell you stuff like, you know, get out the car. You know, when they do tell you stuff, whatever it is, you have to listen, because at that position is their word over yours. And especially nowadays, they're so trigger happy. Even if it's coming to the point where even if you do listen to what they tell you, you know, your life is still in danger. But, you know, it's just really hard to listen to another man that's disrespecting you. Okay. You know, and it's extremely hard to swallow that pride. But
so it's all about respect and basically trying to not dehumanize you as a man and really insult your intelligence. Like, you're stopping me to ask me, why are you going to take in the street?
Come on, dude, it's a street. The same reason why that car just took the street. The reason why they did you on this street, because it's a street. That's what car you drive. That's what cars drive on. They drive on streets. So
that actually happened to you?
Yes. Like, he really asked me why I was taking this street, like as if I was exempt, like I was, you know, like it was some kind of restricted zone. Wow. You know, and just and I was saying that to say to say this. I struggle mightily with expressing myself to police officers, I guess, in the correct manner. Because when they act stupid towards me, I would act stupid towards them. You know, I would, you know, I would call them names. I would purposely not listen to them. And as much as you know, I felt like I had every right to, I had to understand, and I had to be wise enough to know that, again, it's their word over mine. You know, and the way, you know, you guys watch the news is like I watch the news. You know, they're shooting us down like it's, you know, even when we do the right thing. So what I had to learn was I had to learn how to express myself in a greater manner. So instead of, you know, instead of me tapping into my grief or my anger or my hurt or my pain, you know, I started to tap into more so my creativity, into my talents and my gifts.
Oh, I like that.
So, you know, instead of, you know, so instead of saying, you know, F you police, you redneck, son of a, you know, all that, you know, I would go home, you know, and express myself through a poem. You know, so that way not only am I expressing myself, but, you know, I'm doing it in a creative manner. So when somebody else, you know, like today, you know, that the book is out, somebody else may read it and be like, dang, dude, I can relate to you. You know, I can relate, you know, to that certain, you know, some other young black male can relate to that same experience I went through. Okay. Because if I continue to express myself through that grief or through that pain and through that hurt, you know, I can end up getting myself in trouble, whether that be through, you know, me getting shot or me ended up locked up or anything like that. So I really learned, and I think that was God's way of showing, you know, son, tap into your, you know, that talent that I gave you, that I birthed you with, instead of, you know, tapping into the anger and the sorrow and, you know, you being pissed off. So it worked out, yeah. Now during that time, I didn't see it. I hated it. Okay. I really hated it. But now that, you know, I grew older and I became more wiser, you know, I learned how to tap into my talent, into my gift.
That is beautiful. That is so beautiful, Ellis, because basically somebody needed to hear exactly what you just said. There's some young guy out there and they probably feel dehumanized because of the situation that you just talked about. And what you're saying to them is, tap more into your creative ability that God have given us all, you know what I'm saying, and go home and express it in a poem or something, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly, and this is why,
that way you don't get in trouble, right, Ellis?
Exactly.
Put it in the book.
Exactly. Do something smart with it. Do something smart with it.
Do something smart with it. Get it out.
But this is why knowing yourself is so important. When you know who you are, you begin to understand what your passion is. When you discover your passion when you discover what your passion is, you discover your purpose in this life, in this world. So in order to really love yourself, you have to know yourself. You got to know yourself to love yourself. And when you know yourself and you begin to love yourself, you begin to inspire yourself and other people. But it always starts with knowledge of self. If I didn't know who I was, I wouldn't have been able to write poetry. I wouldn't have been able to tap into that creative, you know, that creative talent that I had if I did not know myself. And I tell people that a lot of the times, and the number one question I get asked a lot is, how do you discover yourself?
Oh,
how do you
talk about
find
that, Ellis.
how do you
Go
find your
ahead on.
purpose? And one of the things you have to do, I understand that everybody want to do the whole boyfriend girlfriend thing. I'm with that too. I love relationships just like anybody else. But in order for you to really know yourself, you have to spend time with yourself. You got to discover your mind. You have to really journey through your mind and see what you love, what you dislike, what you're passionate about, the thing that just, the thing that just really makes your soul just elated. But the only way you can do that is when you spend time with yourself. And I'm not talking just 15, 20, 30 minutes out the day. I'm talking like serious time with yourself. Take yourself out to dinner. Take yourself out to the movie. Right. You got to remove yourself from your friends sometimes. And if they're really your true friends, understand it. Nobody wants to truly deep down. Nobody really wants to go throughout this world without knowing yourself.
Right.
Life without self-knowledge or knowledge of self is death in disguise. You're literally without knowledge of self, you're just you're empty. You're just an empty vacancy, and you're just walking around aimlessly. And at any point in time, anybody can just download anything into you and tell you what you are. And this is what happens to a lot of our young black men today. So, I'm not knocking, anybody, that raps or anything like that. But the reason why you see a lot of these young guys strive to be nothing but rappers nowadays is because that's what they see. Right. That's what people that look like them, that's the majority of the time, that's what they see. But truth be told, deep down, they don't really know who they are because they didn't really take that time to really, I'm sorry, God didn't call every young black man to be a rapper. Okay. I'm sorry, I don't believe. I'm not knocking anybody who does rap. Yeah. I love hip hop myself. I love hip hop myself.
Y'all do.
But not every young black man is called to be a rapper.
Or a basketball star.
Or a basketball player.
Or football star.
So,
whatever,
and I think if we all took time and we asked ourselves the right questions like, who am I? Why am I here? Why do I desire the things that I desire? When you have to literally ask yourself these questions. And when you ask yourself these questions, you'll really surprise yourself. You'll really go like, damn, like, why am I here? Yeah. What is my purpose? You're not just here for any old reason.
You're not just here for any old reason.
Exactly, so.
And you do have to ask, really, I ask myself, but I ask God.
Right.
What am I here for?
Exactly.
And he told me, you fish well.
Exactly.
Yeah, and when he said that, Jesus said, follow me, I'll make you fisher of men, right? So when he said you fish well, I know I'm a fisherwoman. That's my name, that's who I am, I'm a fisherwoman. But it's not, when I say fishing, I mean trying to help people get to a solution to get to know themselves better. Like how you say, people got to know themselves. I know who I am, I know what my purpose is here. It's like help almost, help people find out who they are, or either be an example, so maybe then that'll help somebody else, or just tell my testimony and be myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we never know who we helping when we tell testimonies. Like at Juneteenth, when I spoke, the Lady T, shout out to Lady T, she still calls me, right? And she's still saying how that one time blessed her so much and just changed so much stuff. I'm going to have her come on the show. She'll tell the testimony. But anyway, it blessed me because I was just doing what I do. I was just telling my testimony, happy to tell it, sell a book or two or whatever like that. But it was really actually helping somebody's life change. Right. Changing somebody's life. So that's what life is all about, and that's what we all should be here doing, is helping to change somebody's life for the better and not for the worse. You know what I'm saying? Because we have good and bad in everything. Like I said, when we prayed about the guys who got shot, we praying about for the police officers, they family too, because they innocent too. You know what I'm saying? And some of the police, they're innocent. Some of them are not, but some of them are. And just like some of our black men and our Hispanic men or white, whatever, some of them are good and some of them bad. So we got good and bad in everything. And so it's a battle about a movement that should be the movement about righteousness and unrighteousness.
Exactly.
And that's it, because it's like when, I don't like to play the race card, and we don't, but then sometimes people play race cards against us, and so we never do, and it's a hard situation right now. We're in a hard span in our life, right? It's hard because you have family and friends that might be other nationalities, other races, and then you know, we don't want this type of separation to come, you know. So it's like about let's just pray for everybody. But I like how you expressing yourself right now. To me, you don't seem to have no problem at all, you know, because you teaching me some stuff right now. You know what I'm saying? At least you really are. You talking about it, and it's good and it's deep because people need to hear what you're saying. You have to know yourself.
You have to. It's so vital. It's so vital.
And so, Ellis, so what made you get on the path to discovering yourself and knowing yourself?
Well, one of the biggest parts that started for me, and I know everybody's not fortunate to have this, but I was fortunate to grow up in a household with two parents who literally taught me everything right. I want to give a big shout out to my parents, Joseph and Berlinda again. They did a wonderful job with raising me. But my parents, they gave me all the right tools. As far as even if it didn't necessarily come from them, they pointed me in the right direction to go. One of the biggest sources of knowledge that that I go to, or I receive things from, is my bishop and my pastor, Bishop Caleb and Pastor Kenitra Kenja. Another big shout out to them.
Shout out
they
to
taught,
Bishop
yes,
Caleb
yes,
Kenja,
they,
Pastor Kenitra.
They always, yes, they always taught
for 14 years.
Yes, they always taught the importance of knowledge of self. They always taught the importance of really going out and discovering who you are. So I was so fortunate, and I was beyond blessed to be, under the atmosphere or in the environment where people, taught those kind of things.
Yes.
So that's what that was the start off.
So
everything else.
Like a lot, right?
Yes, everything else. It came through. My own desire, but definitely. But now I understand. Everybody's not fortunate to be under that. Right. Under those kind of settings. So, if I had to give advice, as far as people going down their own path, to learning who they are, it was definitely, like I said before, by discovering your mind. You really have to be alone. I know a lot of people think of being alone or loneliness as like saddening or sorrowful, but being alone makes you strong. Being alone makes you strong because it causes you to think. It causes you to think. I know people say idle mind is a devil's playground. You got to control your thoughts.
Okay,
it only
how
becomes.
Do people do that, Ellis?
As far as control their thoughts,
meditation
is one of the biggest keys in learning how to control your mind. Now, meditation is one of those things where it takes you have to surround yourself with silence. Now, it's I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you, say I know when I very first started meditating, the process is not really easy. It's funny, when you meditate, you'll see how busy your mind is.
Right.
Your mind, your mind can think of like 30 thoughts in a matter of 10 seconds.
See, and you're trying, if you really purposely trying to be quiet, that's when you really gonna pay attention and notice how busy your mind really is.
Exactly, but your thoughts are energy, though. Yes. Every thought that you think is energy, and once you really understand that, like fully understand that, you'll begin to understand what kind of thoughts you think. You will truly understand that. So I'm not gonna sit up here and say it's an easy method, especially if you're not used to doing it, because it was a struggle for me. But meditation is definitely I would say the foundation of controlling your thoughts. So meditation is one of those things. It's nothing super deep. It's nothing, it's not no grand skill that you gotta have. Just learn how to sit down somewhere and just be quiet. Go outside
and like you said, when you said earlier, go out to dinner,
take
go
yourself
to lunch
out.
by yourself, right? Because we were taught that too at our church, and I was taught that actually at my church in LA too before I even moved to Palmdale. But being taught that, I've always been a person that every now and then I would take myself out to eat. I would go to the movies by myself. You know what I'm saying? And it's so funny because I met a couple of people and they said, I would never go out to the movies or go to dinner by myself.
Right.
Why not? I mean, don't you love yourself?
You gotta
you
love
yourself. Spend time with yourself.
Communicate, talk to your own self. When I'm, it may seem a little weird, but sometimes majority of the time when I'm by myself, I talk to myself a lot. I ask myself questions that I feel like somebody else may ask me, because I always want to be prepared. Okay. Like the number one question that you can't ask yourself is like, who are you? I ask myself that all the time. Yeah, literally, probably I would say at least 4 to 5 times throughout the week, I just ask myself, go in the mirror, who are you?
Wow.
And how do you know that's who you are? Who told you that's who you are?
Who told
Have
you?
deep conversations with yourself, and you'll be so surprised. You'll be so surprised how much.
With yourself.
You'll be so surprised how much you'll fall in love with yourself.
See.
You'll be so surprised, and it's such a journey, and it's such a great experience to know who you are. To this day, I've been. I know I'm a poet, I know I'm an artist, I know I'm all these things, but each day I still learn more and more stuff about myself. It's just that surreal to me, the journey.
You're a great man.
Yes.
One day when you have you'll be a great father, a great husband, and you've been groomed for this. Because like you said, the church that we went to, and I definitely have to give a shout out to Bishop Kenja and the Kenjas and Pastor Kenitra, because I said on one show, and I definitely want to make sure I clear this up. I said on one show with Lakita, when Lakita came, you remember Lakita?
Yeah.
And I was saying, sometimes I used to go to church and he would say something that rubbed me the wrong way. But what I meant by that, it would make me open up my eyes to reality. Not that it rubbed me the wrong way in a bad way. It rubbed me the wrong way where it's like it was causing me to take my mask off. You know what I'm saying? And not that I even really had a mask on, but it was allowing me to face reality, to actually take the mask off. Like not wear that smile, but actually just cry, let it out. If I had to get on my knees in church, whatever I had to do, I had to get past this process. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel that their ministry really helped me to grow more, because I had a really great ministry in LA. Shout out to the Garretts, Bishop William A. Garrett and Miss Garrett. And I had a great ministry out there, and a great ministry like with the Kenjas, is because, like I said, they helped me. Their teaching helped me to face reality.
Right.
And I was like, man, I don't want to face this right now. But it made me face it. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I say it rubbed me the wrong way, it really rubbed me the right way. It guided me the right way, but I couldn't wear a mask.
Right.
You're not gonna wear a mask if you go to the Kenja church. You are not gonna wear a mask forever unless you're not gonna be there. Unless
the truth is too powerful. It's just too powerful,
right?
It's too powerful.
And so I've been taught, but the most part that I can say and that I thank God for is that even my bishop in LA, he always said, go home and see what I'm saying, research and make sure that I'm teaching you right.
Most definitely.
So self-education, like Kevin was just said, self-educate is like the most powerful thing ever. You can go to great leaders, great pastors and bishops and great schools and institutions or whatever, but if you're not just sitting back teaching yourself and getting to know yourself, learning something new, and now nobody has an excuse, right? Nope. Because you could tap into this phone and just tap on that microphone. You're like, what does this word mean?
Right.
What does this expression mean? Right. It's so easy, right, to learn, and everybody should do this. It's not about Facebook is good, but I was on the way down here today. My niece said, Auntie, I don't get on Facebook that much because God told me that if I'm on Facebook for 2 hours, I could have been reading his Bible. I could have been reading the Word, you know what I'm saying? And that make a lot of sense. So you could be getting some education or whatever. And I'm guilty. I like Facebook or whatever, but I also like knowledge.
Right.
So I'm always
have
on
a balance.
the phone. I'm always on the phone learning something new. You know what I'm saying? It's like now that microphone and that knowledge on that phone, nobody has this excuse. You don't have to go to the library. You just go right to that phone and get that knowledge, right?
At the comfort of your own home.
Yeah, so shout out to all my bishops. Even my bishop now, it's at a whole different type of, sometimes you graduate, you move to different levels. I'm at a different level. The Hodges right now, I really appreciate Dr. Fred Hodges and Linda Hodges. I appreciate them too, because everybody is essential to your process. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then sometime when you move on, it's like people go to high school, junior high school, college, and even when you graduate from college, you still should be learning.
Oh yeah.
Always, right?
Knowledge that's a forever thing.
It's forever.
Knowledge is infinite. If you
See,
tried
talk
to soak
about
up,
that.
if you tried to soak up everything,
You can't.
It's not enough time
can't.
to. Knowledge is you're a student for life.
For
You
life.
gotta have that embedded in your mind. You
So,
are.
so while we talking, Ellis, we got to give a shout out, and somebody who need to get taxes done. We got to give a shout out to your dad.
My father is by far. I'm sorry. I gotta speak on him real quick.
Yes.
My father, and I'm not just saying this because he's my father, but my father, Joseph Ginn Jr., is by far the hardest working man I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
My dad is an entrepreneur, and he is a tax man. Joe's Professional Tax Service. You need your taxes done. He gonna kill me if I don't get the address right. But if you ever in the Palmdale area, the address is 3166 East Palmdale Boulevard, Suite 210.
Okay.
That's in
you got
Palmdale,
it.
California. The number for that area code 661-267-0114. If you need your taxes done, my dad is the man for the job. My dad's clientele is out of this world because people
Sky
trust
high.
him and
Yeah.
they know he gonna get the job done.
Yeah.
So shout out to my dad. Having a father, I don't want to go too off topic, but since we're talking about fathers,
Yes.
Having a father in a household, especially in the black communities,
Yes.
that's very important.
It's so important.
My dad, just without him, he doesn't even necessarily have to say anything.
Right.
I can just follow his lead. I can just follow the example.
Yes.
Him being an entrepreneur, seeing him getting up at 2:00 in the morning, not coming home to 1:00 the next morning, only getting an hour of sleep to really hustle and do his thing. Where I get my hustle from, my ambition, I got it from that man. As far as seeing the example, seeing that somebody actually do it,
Yes.
I'm so thankful that I had that in my household.
Yes.
Because I can tell you, even not to get too personal, but my biological father wasn't active in my life like that. So
Right.
I was fortunate to have somebody step up.
Right.
I was
Stepped in.
fortunate that God gave me an assigned father,
Right.
and really and was really there for me and my sister and my other brother as well. So I can tell you that having a father in the home, and I'm saying this just to get it out to the black community. I'm not a father yet, but
Yeah.
I will say the importance of the presence.
The
The presence. You don't have to be no genius to have an impact, on your son or your daughter's life. Just a man's presence alone.
Yes.
Just the fact that I know that there's a dad in the house. Just it's completion because just you got the mother, you got the father, then you got the children. It's that. It's just
completion, huh?
that completion just makes
Yes.
you feel better. So I'm sorry, I have to give a quick shout out to my dad.
Yeah,
'Cause-
Joe, because we wanted to shout out to the tax
Yes,
company
yes.
because this is like a show, so we definitely have to give a shout out to Joe Tax Services because your dad, everybody I know just about
Oh,
he
yeah.
do everybody taxes, right? And it's a shop. It ain't no he like H&R Block or something,
And
but
we need more
for
black
real.
and we need more black men to do that entrepreneurship right now.
Entrepreneurship,
Yeah,
right.
the way the economy is going, and especially us as a black community, because we do need to keep everything. We need to regulate our own dollars within our own community.
Talk about it.
So black entrepreneurs, especially as men, because we're the leaders, we really need to take that more seriously.
Yeah.
This was another reason why I was really looking forward to my book being published, because even though I am a poet and I have fun with this is still a job to me at the end of the day.
Talk
I'm
about
trying to
that.
make my own business, out of my own, out of my own passion and my own artwork. And I want to be an entrepreneur,
Right.
just like my dad is, and just
Right.
like any other, to me, in my
Right.
personal opinion,
Right.
any other black man needs to be, because we do need to keep our, and there's nothing racist about that.
Right.
Just
No.
like the Jewish do, just
No.
like everybody, just like any other race would do,
Talk about it,
keep
Ellis.
keep their dollars within their own community, we need to do that as well.
Yes.
So, you know, I don't look at my dad as just, you know, a hard-working man, but he's, you know, he's setting a great
Good
example. You know,
and I just want to give a shout out to your dad for just being there, being a good role model male in my son's life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, as being your best friend, and y'all hanging out
yeah.
all the time. But they done took Ricky up under their wings too. And every time Ricky come in town, your mama be like, okay, Ricky, come on over here and
walk
get
in
your
the
spaghetti.
house, go in our refrigerator like he lit there. And
know,
don't nobody even say nothing. He just go ahead and, you know,
it's so
'cause
amazing,
love, right?
though. And that's why I do thank God for the connection from the Kenjas for as the church. People sometimes look at church and think that it's like, oh, I'm not going to church, I'm not giving the pastor my money, and they say stuff like that. But church is more than even that. Church is sometimes it's a connection.
Right.
If you have a church home and you, like I was there 14 years, you're going to know a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have a whole nother extended family.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so look at it as something that you're gaining. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing that you're losing because you go to church and you bless the pastor once a week to come. Like if you was going to a seminar, you're going to pay for that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you go to church and you blessing the pastor and you helping the upkeep of the church, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because you're getting a family. Like right now, if we wasn't at UCF for so long, Ricky wouldn't have Tina and Tina's daughter and son AJ and all of them out there in Texas.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't have Lakita. Lakita's
Right.
out there, she still be checking up on him, making sure he's okay. And then you're out here when he comes back, and so it's like, and then like for me, like I said, I was there 14 years, but I still have so much connection there.
Right.
You know, because we're still in contact. You know,
Right.
they still promote my stuff, I promote their stuff. You know, and it's a good thing because we're all connected still. You know, I have a lot of connections from UCF,
Exactly.
Zoe Ministry.
Yes.
So shout out to you guys. You know.
Love
You
my
know,
church.
it's family, right?
It's
Yeah,
family.
church is a family. It's not because if you somewhere 14 years, that means you're being raised. You're growing with these people. So that means it's your family. This becomes your family.
Right.
So everybody that I see from UCF, this is my family still.
Right.
Everybody I see from my church down below, the way the church, that's my family still. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now I see my new church family now. That's my family.
And that just what we're talking about. I got to keep going back to it, y'all, because it's
Go
the
back
truth.
to it.
But in this is for our black community as well. Just because we have a disagreement on something, or just because we have a different perspective on something, doesn't mean that we can't get along. Just because we disagree with each other, don't mean it can't be respect. You know, like a lot of, and this is, Malcolm X warned us about this a while ago, as far as divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Just because I label myself as a Christian, or you may label yourself as a Muslim, or a Jehovah's Witness or whatever, that don't mean we still can't bridge together and come together as a black community and still have a common ground. Because at the end of the day, I don't care if I'm Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever. At the end of the day, I'm still black, just like you. I got to jump over the same hurdles and the same things. That I got to endure obstacles and the same obstacles and opposition as you do.
Talk about it.
Whatever, I don't care what I label myself as. So with that being said, we all need to have a common ground. We all need to have the same aim, as far as the same goal, as far as bettering ourselves. We got to understand that everybody grew up the same way. So of course, you know, rightfully so, my perspective may be a little different than yours. My mentality may be a little different than yours. But as long as we see the true goal, the true common goal, that's all that matters. And that's what happens a lot. You know, this person's Christian, so he got to be over here. This person's Muslim, so he got to be over there. And that's what Malcolm warned us about, that whole divide and conquer. So when you were saying that, just because, you know, you may not necessarily, you know, go to a certain church no more, that doesn't mean that you have to lose connection
You
or
don't
love
lose the
with
connection.
that person, because it's
you
love.
You still love the people. If you ever really love them, you're gonna love them anyway.
Right. It's
you
got
know?
to be unconditional. That's what unconditional love is.
That's what unconditional love is,
that's
Ellen.
all
Because
unconditional
I love
love
all
is.
of my church families from L.A., Gardena, to Palmdale, to now still in I love all of my church family.
Right.
You know, I can't really say that I have no church family, and it's a connection though.
It's a connection.
So you're getting connected to a lot of people.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I just have so much love for all of my churches.
Yes.
All three of them, because all of them is a part of my journey and made me who I am today, and it's a part of me.
Right.
You know, I had to go through this process down here, this process up here, and now I'm at a different type of process or whatever. And the whole thing it's all connection.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you never know what kind of platform, like right now, this platform.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Right now, you and Ricky best friends.
Exactly.
You know, like Ricky come in town. I'm like, Ricky, you need a ride? Nope. Ellis coming to get me.
You already know.
You need a ride?
You
No.
already know.
Oscar coming to get me. You know, Oscar, he gonna come on the show too, right? And I'm like, I'm so thankful that my kids have really, really good friends.
Right.
Like even Jalen and Liz and her friend, my kids have really good friends. You guys have a life that, like Joe and Valinda, your mom, they did things so you didn't have to have the life they had coming up. And although they probably had an okay life, but your life is better.
Exactly.
My life was hell, but my kids' life is better now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it gets better and better every generation. You know, because I think your dad, he come from a family with a dad too, right?
Yeah.
Because he had his dad in his life. And what about your mom?
He just recently passed away.
I
Rest in
remember,
peace
yeah.
To
Rest in
my
peace,
grandpa again. He recently passed away, but he did an awesome job in my dad's life. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember that because I remember hearing that. And then your mom had her dad in her life.
Yeah, he also passed away when she was at a young age as well. Rest in peace to my grandpa Robert Burns. But yes, they both did have their parents, their
and
fathers.
So it just gets better. Like right now, I know for sure my son, he would definitely be there. He would be a great dad, you know. And not saying his dad is not. His dad was just away out of town for a long while,
right.
And he had other things going on. But his dad is okay. And one thing I'm gonna say that my son's dad, when my mother passed last year, he showed up before everybody.
I remember that.
Caught the train.
I remember that.
And came. So I was like, you know what, Rick, I got to give you big respect for that. So my baby dads, you know, they good guys, you know.
Right.
But I wish it could have been different, you know, like grew up in a house like right there, whatever. But then when you see something and you didn't get the best or you didn't get what you wanted, then you make it better.
Exactly.
When you have your space and time.
Exactly.
So now you can make it better. Your natural dad wasn't there, but you had a great stepdad.
And I thank God for it.
Yeah, because Joe, he stepped in, right? Even
I
with my
can't,
son.
I can't even express it.
Even with my son.
I can't.
Ricky is like, he go to Joe for certain things, you know. Joe, I need to work a little bit. I need to do this, do this. And Joe I could tell your mom and dad love my son, and that's what I appreciate.
Oh yeah, most
I
definitely.
really appreciate that for them, you know, for that, right? But yeah, so you know what, Ellis, tell us a little bit about the Black history that you talk, because you know a lot about Black history. So just tell our viewers a couple of things about Black history that really impact your life and made you who you are right now.
Black history is one of those topics. Is one of those very sensitive topics because Black history has been tampered with so much. You know, sometimes this person can tell you this, and then you later find out that it was really this. So Black history is one of those very sensitive topics. But I can tell you what it's really done for my life as far as the knowledge that I acquired from our history, from our culture, is that it made me more confident, and it made me more powerful as far as who I am. It's so much that African people have done for this country and have done for the world that a lot of people don't know. You know, like stuff like mathematics. You know, a lot of people think that originated, from white people or Europe. One of those, those Caucasian countries. When it came from Africa. It came from the land of Kemet, or what we know as Egypt. A lot of the doctors and philosophers and just all-time geniuses came from Africa first. And what got me into Black history a lot What really started it off for me is when I was getting harassed by police officers.
Okay.
After I surpassed all the anger and all the hatred that they had for me, I really started to think. I said, why do these cops, or why do these police officers, or why do these, white supremacists, or whatever you want to categorize, them as, why do they hate me so much? Or, why is it like this? And when I really asked myself that, I started studying. And what I found out is that it's not just me, that was getting harassed and pulled over and things like that. A lot of people who look like me. It was a history. That whole driving while black thing, that was long before, I was on this earth. And, I looked at stuff like the Rodney King videos. I'm like, dang, it's not just the Ellis thing. It's a young black man or a black man thing. So when I learned that, I'm like, okay, so my people have been getting dogged out for years. But I'm asking myself, why is that? So as I started to keep going back, and I went further and further and further and further back, I started to notice how great we were. And what it is that, see, you gotta peep game. You gotta learn history and peep game. Okay. The reason why a lot of hatred acts, the reason why there's a lot of negativity that is brought upon black people, from people outside of us, is because the greatness that we have. Okay. Their fear of us is an indication of how great of a people we are. Wow. Our black history is purposely hidden because the greatness that knowledge has. And when I discovered that knowledge for myself, it's like I went outside and the sky was a different color blue. Wow. Because our history is so rich. It's so powerful. I mean,
we had the communiversity there.
Oh,
right?
yes.
I always went to the communiversity. Tell everybody what the communiversity is.
Communiversity is something that my church has put together under the leadership of my bishop and my pastor. What it is that we have a brother by the name of Brother Jamal. Shout out to Brother Jamal Brown.
Shout out to Brother
Excellent
Jamal.
teacher. What he does is that we all come together as a people. We all sit down and we talk about the various things that we need to do as far as the black community. Yeah. We teach history. We come up with solutions. Yeah. We talk about the problems that are in the black community, right. And we go and we cook up things so we can move forward with things. So not only are we learning our history, we're learning how to navigate through the strife, and we're learning how to navigate through all the racism and all the things that are placed up, all the wicked plots that are put against black people. Yeah. So, black history a lot of the times is looked at as like a special kind of teaching, when the reality is it's not. It's not. I don't think black history should be looked upon as something, special to learn, or it's not it's something that we need to learn. It's vital. It's essential. It's important, So what we do at Communiversity is that's taught. Our brother, our very own professor, Jamal Brown, does a great job of driving at home. He always, makes it a point where it's not about him. It's a community. So if anybody has questions, they can ask. If anybody wants to know anything about our history, we have enough people in that Communiversity or in that group that can answer that question.
And see, the thing about that too, Ellis, is we didn't just have African Americans, we had all nationality people coming to our Black History Communiversity, because it's not just important for us to know who we are, but it's important for other people too, so they can see us for really who we are. You know what I'm saying? Because like when you say when we know ourselves, it makes us more bold. I like how you just said earlier, you said it made you more bold. You went outside and the sky was like... It
was like a different color blue to me.
Like a different color blue,
it was just like,
right?
Dang, I didn't know. It makes it great because people purposely hid our history. Okay. African people are so powerful. Okay. I can't even express how powerful we are, and to know that it was purposely hidden, to me, just made it that much more greater.
It makes
So
you want to dig deeper.
It makes you want to dig deeper. It's kind of
Yeah.
like, well, why did you only hide something if you don't want somebody to know it? Because
It's a treasure.
it must be something
People
that's
only hide
special.
treasures, right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It made
So
you
it's
just
a
want-
treasure.
Exactly. It made you just want to. That's why I said, I had to really stop and ask myself, why the heck do they keep pulling me over? And when I really asked that and I kept going back and further and further and further back, I started to notice it wasn't just me, it was black people as a whole. And when I saw it was black people as a whole, that's when I
Right.
really started searching the history. And that's when I found out all these marvelous things. So,
But it makes you more of who you are, and it
Yeah.
lets you be who you are with confidence.
Right.
And I like what you said about that, because basically it's about knowing who you are. Because so when we know where our ancestors came from. It makes us more bold to be who we are.
Exactly.
Like when I met a lot of my, and I told this story a few times, but when I met a lot of my family in Denver and I see them on Facebook and I see how they act, and some of the family have been married for 30 years and
Right.
40, 50 years. My grandma and grandpa was married for like a lot of years, like 50 some years. It makes me proud of who I am, where I come from, my heritage. You know what I'm saying? So it helps me to be more bold and confident in who I am.
Right.
And that's your ancestors, period. Whether we going back 100 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, it just helps us to be more who we are.
Right.
So everybody should learn their history, and it's a good thing, right?
that's a beautiful thing.
And then it's good for other people to know other people's stories, so therefore they could look at us, where people could look at us as a whole, as with more compassion, with more love, like, oh, these people are great people. They're not the people that we were taught they was, or what they say they are in the history books. They're great people. So yeah, let's go hang out with them, find out we're good people.
Black history, or just history period, is good to know, but since we black and we talking about
Yeah,
black
history
history,
is
I'm gonna talk
definitely
about
good to
black
know.
history. I'm gonna talk about my culture.
Okay, we got about 1 minute. So say it in
Okay.
about 1 minute.
One of the beautiful things about history and the importance of knowing it is that it gives you a chance to peep game of what it is going on today.
Yes.
Like back then, when the Black Panthers were around, there was a man by the name of John. I even forget the man name. John Edgar Hoover. Believe that was his name.
J. Edgar Hoover,
J.
yeah.
Edgar Hoover.
Yeah.
His job. They had a group called COINTELPRO, and their job was to kill or destroy any black man that was on the rise. So what they would do is they would use fear as a tactic to keep black people down. So a lot of what you see now with all these killings and these police officers killing us back and forth is more so just a fear tactic that they try to instill in us. So we won't, even if I do become something great, they'll just kill me anyway. So it defeats the purpose of me even wanting to be great. So if you study your history, if you study black history, you will peep that and you will understand it.
Ooh, y'all.
Yeah, it's
That was real deep, y'all. Look,
it's deep.
That's
but
some
yeah.
good history. We getting that from young Ellis, okay? Young Ellis, young intelligent Ellis. So look, you guys, thank you so much for coming. Every Monday at 4 o'clock, I've been through, hosted by Gail Davis. I want to thank my guest, Ellis McGruger. I really thank him so much. I thank my tech guy. I thank everybody that make this thing happen. You guys come back every Monday at 4 o'clock. I've been through it, hosted by Gail Davis.
Dear Father, I stand today just want to say thank you, Lord, for everything that you've done for me. Somebody's gonna need you, Lord. Somebody's gonna need a friend. Well, I stopped by to let you know that I know somebody that'll stick closer than a mother, somebody that'll stick closer than even a father. Well, friend, I'm talking about Jesus Christ. Yeah, thank you, Lord. Oh, yeah.